Makereri's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, is now no stranger to controversy, from questions around his academic qualifications to questions and allegations about his authoritarian leadership to even staff unrest. Why is this happening right now? Why is this happening today? Today on Nbs Face Off, I'm hosting the man who put the questions to him, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe. Welcome to Nbs Face Off.
Thank you. Thank you, Kanare.
My name is Kanara Mgume, and let's get to the questions first. How do you justify holding the highest office at Makerere University when there are questions around your academic qualifications? Why the controversy?
I guess I have addressed that question many times and long enough. But for purposes of clarity, let me once again say that I'm the most qualified person to hold the office of Vice-Chancellor of Makerere University. I have been at the university for 40 years and have grown through the ranks from an assistant lecturer until I got to the position of professor, and all those promotions have been done according to the university's policies and regulations. I started my primary school in a rural setting, a very rural place, and started the primary living examinations. And despite being in a very rural setting, maybe one of the most rural areas, as President Museveni normally says, I started examinations, and I still passed. And I came to Makerere University, admitted to do a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering. I was at Makerere briefly when again I got involved in activism against the government of President Idi Amin, and that ended into my exile. I had to be exiled, and I found myself in the Soviet Union. I adopted the British system of beginning with a bachelor's and then you move on to a master's. Otherwise, in Europe at that time, all professional programs did a master's straight. So you did the same number of years you need to do a bachelor's and a master's, but you only got one qualification as a master's. And after that, I proceeded to do my PhD in the Soviet Union. I was at the Kyiv National University for Architecture and Construction. And that's where I also did my PhD, which I again completed with distinction. And I came back, as I have said, and joined Makerere University, started the Department of Architecture. There was no architecture at that time in Uganda. All our architects were being trained in Nairobi. And of course, you know the problems that were there at that time between Uganda and Kenya. So we were not training even enough architects there because of the political tensions. Architecture of the world. That's no mean achievement, and I published quite widely, either as a sole author or jointly with other people in very prestigious journals and very prestigious books on architecture. All that has been vetted by international professors. Because to become associate professor or professor at Makerere, all your papers must be vetted by an external vetter who is at a rank higher than you. In my case, there was no professor in Africa at that time. And so when I had somebody laughing that I was saying I was the only first African professor, it is a fact. Because when the university was looking for somebody to vet my papers, they looked for somebody within Africa, they failed, until they had to go to Europe, and I think that's where they found somebody to vet my papers. And then when I was promoted, I indeed became the first full professor of architecture in Africa. So I'm fully qualified.
So where is all this controversy coming from? You believe there's someone behind all this fighting you?
I believe that in my attempt to transform the university, I stepped on a lot of toes. And the people who probably are not happy with the efforts I have made to stabilize the university, to return sanity to the university, to return respect to our institution, So obviously, there must be quite a number of people who are not happy about that.
What you call returning sanity to the university has been interpreted as fighting critics or dissenting voices, especially around not just the students, but even your academic staff. So many are confused. Are you running a university? Are you running a
what are the critics and what are they criticizing? Because returning sanity was simply saying, and I want to say this, we in Africa should not think that we are going to get out of poverty and our problems with so much indiscipline. What was there was just indiscipline, nothing else. I was dealing with indiscipline among the students and among the members of staff. The students were all the time in strikes, riots, disturbing the community, destroying people's property. And I'm surprised that some people think that that was the freedom of expression, freedom. What kind of freedom is that? Where people just say, indisciplined and destroying things.
So a single individual at Makerere University determined how freedom at the university will be and will look like. So was that really returning sanity or a purge of critics?
That was not criticism, that was indiscipline. There is a difference between the criticism and just indiscipline. Indiscipline just means behaving outside the norms of society. So the students were always on riots for no good reason, fighting among themselves, destroying the property of each other, okay, putting each other in serious danger all the time. So
when students are not satisfied about something, what should they do? Striking has always been at Makerere University.
No, it was not about
an expression of dissatisfaction.
It was never about being dissatisfied. It was just a culture. People sometimes just think, people would say, we have not rioted for some time. We need to do some rioting. And all of a sudden you just see people shouting and moving around branches and disrupting classes.
Have been protesting over disruptions around the structure of payment for their tuition, increment, things that they were opposed to. Do you think that they really start in their hostels and thought, let's go strike today because the university has been quiet?
Some of the protests were genuine when for example, as you say, when they were saying that we had increased the fees, which they could not afford. Yes, there was a demonstration. That one was actually not even violent. And the moment they demonstrated about that, we did consult the authorities. We had a discussion. We set up a joint committee of the students, the management, the council, and the government. And that matter was resolved. And they realized, so we can actually solve things just through negotiation. And that's what we have been encouraging.
How do you differentiate between the genuine protests and then what you call not genuine protests?
There must be...
Is that a determination that you make as an individual?
Yeah, I am the Vice Chancellor and the CEO of the institution. I am put there to manage the institution. I have to manage through, evaluating the situations and taking decisions in a rational manner. So there might be circumstances where I may not take the decisions myself. I have to refer to council, and most of the decisions are actually referred to council, and I only implement decisions of council.
There is controversy around appointments inside Makerere University that most of those are actually influenced by bribery and not on merit. Let's talk about that after this break.
Banda Uganda mwetegeke.